How many of you guys are just ready to speak Manakahthey? You're ready to speak the language of the scriptures. Yahudit, you're ready to know these things. And it's just hard. You got to learn the grammar rules. You got to build your vocabulary. I'm proposing a technique that I did think of years ago. And I decided, you know what? I actually think it's a really good idea. There's a linguistic term that's called code meshing. Code meshing is different from code switching. Let me tell you what code switching is, and then I'll tell you what code meshing is. Code switching is when you go from one dialect to another dialect. Let's say like English. If you speak back Black English and you speak proper English, you might use proper English at work and Black English when you're at home. Okay, that's code switching. So you switch your dialects of English depending on who you talk to. Okay, code meshing is when you don't care and you mix it. Someone who might code mesh might be someone who comes from another country, and let's say they speak Spanish, but they know English, but they don't know some words, so they might throw a Spanish word in there. That's called code meshing. And they do that so they can carry themselves over into the language. Well, if you know that English is a mixed language, it's a mutt language. It used to be a Germanic language, and now it's essentially a mutt language. That's why it might be the reason why it's starting to be, or it probably is, it's like universally the language to learn. And when you know English, it is an asset to know English, because the vast majority of countries, they will have English there for you to be able to, cross over. And so how many words are in the English language? How many words get added to the English language every year? The Oxford Dictionary says that there are currently over 170,000 words, and 47,000 are no longer in use. So language in general evolves. I am not saying that we should speak Yahudit or Manakahthey and mix other foreign words into it. No, I'm definitely not saying that. However, if you're trying to make the transition into Yahudit and Manakahthey, you definitely can you can mesh. You definitely should mesh and start incorporating the words that you know into the language, especially when you're speaking with people who are actually trying to learn it. That is a great way to carry it over. For example, instead of saying the Lord, many of us were already saying Yahweh. And how about instead of saying the word bless? I hate the word bless. The word bless, for example, is a horrible word. It sounds like be less, but the word Baruch is a word that they translated for blessing, and that actually isn't uplifting. So if you want to uplift someone, you shouldn't say bless you. You should say barak or barak you. Because the word bless, if you look it up, it has origins in blood sacrifice. When you say bless, do you intend to tell somebody to be a blood sacrifice? I know you don't intend that, but that's how stupid the word bless is. It's a stupid word. And so we want to transition. We want to get over it back into the original language. Let's just start dumping Manakahthey words, Yahudit words into the English language as we speak it. Why not? We create new words. Black people do that all the time with the slang. We throw it in. We have new words all the time. Let's do that with our language. Let's start incorporating it into our language, and eventually, let's say we started with the verbs. I propose this. Let's start pronouncing the proper names of everybody in the scriptures the proper way, and the verbs. Let's start incorporating the verbs into our vocabulary while we're speaking to each other, while we're code switching to each other. Obviously you might not be able to do that in the office when you're talking to customers, but you can when you code switch talking to me and you, we could start incorporating it. And let's say I'm making a video, I will choose to use the Manakahthey Yahudit word that is a verb, for example, and you'll have to just figure it out, or I'll tell you what it means, and then eventually you'll get it. Okay, so it's just like slang in the beginning. You're like, what does that mean? And then you'll figure it out. And so the idea is that hopefully, yes, we'll do it with the proper names and with the verbs. Hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to do it with the adjectives, and then a full, complete speaking the ancient language, the Yahudit, Manakahthey language. I think it's a great way for us to cross over. Let's start dumping Manakahthey words, Yahudit words into the English language and create a slang version of it in English. And I don't care if I add, it looks right here, the Global Monitor of English Words says there's over 1 billion English words. That sounds ridiculous. I don't know 1 billion English words. English really is borrowing words from so many languages, we can let English borrow some more. But we shouldn't do that with our language. We should definitely try to speak the most accurate version of Manakahthey. But right now we're crossing over. So we're just going to go away. We're going to go back. Although language is evolving, Manakahthey needs to be pure and Manakahthey needs to make sense. And so I say we cross over. Tell me what you think about code meshing. Download my app, iThoughty, so you can get a list of verbs, a list of nouns, a list of proper names, and so we can start crossing over, and so we can code mesh and incorporate the language into our vocabulary right now. No excuse. Let me know what your thoughts. Definitely download the app, rate it on Apple Store so it can naturally promote itself. Shalom.